Hello, and welcome to the Authentically Elisa podcast, Unmasking Your True Self. I'm Elisa Bogarts, your guide on this journey to discovering the most genuine version of yourself. Each episode is a step towards unveiling the incredible power that lies within you as we strip away all the shoulds and shine a light on the coulds. Together, we'll explore the path of self-empowerment, self-confidence, and the courage to be unapologetically you. Thank you for being here. So let's dive into today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about limiting beliefs and getting out of your head to live a more authentic life. And my guest today is Dr. Tina Huang. When there wasn't answers to address her learning disabilities, severe stomach pains, depression, anxiety 3 decades ago, she had decided that she had to buckle down to get the answers herself. She studied mechanisms of action, root causes in the field of neuroscience and epidemiology. She started her business as a holistic brain health practitioner over a decade ago. And when she realized that she could help them address their root cause quickly and efficiently.
Welcome, Tina. Thank you for having me, Elisa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Me too. So tell me, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but tell us how you got into this field of work and just why you're so passionate about it.
You know, I was struggling with, as I mentioned in the bio, I struggled with learning disabilities and depression, anxiety, and decided that because I kept getting sent to doctors and counselors, they really couldn't fix the underlying problems, that I had to basically figure out what were these causes that were getting in the way of my manifesting my dreams. And I was so tired of being limited and told I'd have to accept my reality and just live with it. And so I just kept trying to think outside of my box. I kept trying to stretch myself. So I started off with neuroscience and epidemiology, or started off with neuroscience and then went into epidemiology, the study of disease across populations, and psychiatric and nutritional epidemiology. And then at a difficult time, when I was still struggling with the depression and anxiety, somebody introduced me to EFT, or emotional freedom technique, or tapping. And that really kind of pushed me outside of my comfort zone, but was very transformative. And I ended up really looking into or discovering powerful techniques in energy medicine that helped me identify root causes with clients that I work with directly. And so I've been constantly shoved outside of my comfort zone. But in doing so, I have found amazing strategies to help clients heal. And that's why I formed my business called Holistic Brain Health. And I do feel like I'm living my authentic self, because my business is only myself, Tina. There's nobody like me. So it's all this discomfort has forced me to be the business person and to be the person I want. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. What an interesting journey. The discomfort's what has made you grow more and more.
Yeah.
Be you. Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to someone who's wanting to be their true authentic self?
I think that oftentimes we can get stuck in a rut of comfort, right? And I've not been lucky to be stuck in a rut of comfort. I've been thrown into difficult situations that have forced me outside of my box and forced me to think bigger. I think that people become interested in alternative medicine when they realize the limitations of Western medicine, for example, right? You get forced to think outside the box when you are out of solutions. And I think that if you are feeling like you're not resonating and you're not truly excited about who you manifest on the outside, it's not a reflection of who you really are on the inside, that it's time to start trying to think outside of the box. And there's different ways to do that, right? One is, coaches can ask powerful questions, right? They help you to think in ways that you may not have been able to think before. But it's also throwing yourself into experiences that are outside of your own comfort zone. And my favorite way to do that is to travel, to go to other cultures, but also to go into nature and explore. I think, you know, and one of the best ways I think that the reasons why getting yourself out of your head and and seeing things in a different light is so powerful is the concept of awe, you know, experiencing awe has so many benefits to it. And I've written about this, you know, the article I wrote was why we need to aim for an awe-filled life. Um, and the science of awe is wonderful. It's like it can improve, not only improve your life, your mood and life and satisfaction, but in terms of what we're talking about, it can make you less materialistic, but also help you feel more humble and smaller. But it can expand your perception of time and make you more generous and cooperative. But basically, it basically and it helps you feel connected and to others and humanity. It basically just pushes you outside of your normal life, and it fills you with such joy and expansion that it can really help you identify what are your loves, and 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 therefore it starts to generate ideas as well, because it really helps with that bigger picture thinking. It gets us out of our left brain and into our whole brain thinking.
Wow, interesting. So what do you mean by awe? Like what is that? What explain that to us a little
So
bit.
awe, I mean, that's awe is like when you're on a climbing a mountain and you just see an incredible view, right? I love waterfalls, and waterfalls just floor me, you know. I've seen people, depending on the waterfall, right? But I've seen like amazing architecture, like Frank Lloyd Wright has done some incredible architecture in conjunction with nature, you know, and that those the creations that he's made in fusing art with homes, or not art, but with nature with homes, is just jaw dropping to me, right?
Mm.
So when you see something that just fills you with this sense of like, holy cow, this is just transformative and big, right? Um, you can get this. I know this may not be the most beautiful experience, but I remember I was traveling in India and we went to the Ghats, which is in Varanasi, which is a river where they have um, funeral and cremations there, and it's just they have all these amazing, beautiful rituals around death, and it's somewhat horrifying, but it's also awe-inspiring, and it's so different, right?
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
love dance.
I've been there as well, and I remember, yeah, I was walking in those pedestrian narrow streets, and then all of a sudden people were carrying a body beside me. It was like wrapped up, but I was just like, ah.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah, what a
yeah,
fascinating
I mean,
place.
everything about India is awe-striking, I think. You know, it's just if you're used to a Western culture, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, you know, but like I love dance, for example. So like during COVID, you know, I'd watch a lot of dance, right? And I've seen YouTube videos of dance performances like CDK dance, just amazing. Like I'm just like I'm blown away by what they do, you know. That's another experience of awe, like just something that just blows you away of like, wow, that was just phenomenal, you know? That's what,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So that totally helps you to sort of get out of your head and kind of live in the present moment of this amazingness that happens in our world.
right. And the great thing about it is when you know what you love, you can it helps you discover who you are, right? It gets you
Mm,
back in touch with who you are. I mean, the I think the one of the best ways to get to know who you are is to play, right? And that's part of playing.
it is. Yeah,
And we don't do enough of it as adults, right?
that's true.
So
Yeah.
I think being authentic really just comes back down to getting in touch with what you love and what drives you. And I will say that sometimes our lives can be so traumatic that we can get shut down, right? Emotionally and drained, exhausted because we have to work too hard, or because we've had too many difficult relationships or people that have put us down or kept us small, right? And if that's what's going on, we have a concept in the world that I work in called a heart wall,
What's
where
that?
a heart wall is it's fascinating. It's so we have these emotions that so Western medicine believes that the emotions can get trapped in our brains, through the amygdala, the limbic system, right? But there are more and more discoveries through energy medicine that that the emotions are actually beyond just our brain, and it makes sense because the Chinese, for example, believe that like your liver, if you're angry all the time, that there's issues with your liver, and if you're in fear, that's your kidneys, right? But
Mm.
these emotions can be trapped anywhere in our bodies, and Candace Pert says they're in the peptides of our bodies. It's really interesting. So the emotions, we have these concepts of trapped emotions, and these emotions can get trapped in the heart. And just to let you know that, like if we have pain, for example, oftentimes there's trapped emotions in those tissues, and releasing those trapped emotions can make a real difference in that pain. So that's just an example of how trapped emotions can drive symptomology, right? Um,
Right.
so so we can have trapped emotions around our heart, and that can cause a heart wall. And those trapped emotions can manifest through just repeated trauma. And we can inherit this trauma too, epigenetically. So yeah, so I've worked with clients to release their heart walls. Used to have a very, very thick heart wall, extremely thick because of all the trauma, and really found that it just helps really unleash a lot of who I am, but also unleash that capacity for joy, which I had lost. I actually never really had for the first 30 years of my life. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so it can really help get people out of that state of just like of just not being able to feel passion and love for life, right? If that is what you're struggling with, then the heart wall could be a major barrier to that.
And is it possible that for your heart wall to kind of get thicker and get thinner, like throughout your life? Like I was just thinking about me, like I feel like I used to have more of that passion and love and joy, and more recently, I kind of feel like I've lost some of that. So I wonder, and that's probably to do with some trauma the last few years. And so, like, is it possible
Yeah,
that it like thickens back up again, and then you have to work on releasing all
it
that?
can definitely. I mean, definitely trauma can always add quote unquote trapped emotions, right? Um, if you've for clients who've worked with me or worked with other practitioners that do this work that release the heart wall, what I think, and I can't prove this because there's no scientific studies on this, but if you have a thick heart wall, then you're more likely. This makes a lot of sense because when we live in a dark space, we're more likely to attract dark energies, right? So we're more likely to, if we've released our heart wall, we're less likely to accumulate more trauma around our heart, unless like it would take a larger amount of or more severe trauma in order to accumulate more, if that makes sense.
Right.
So yeah, so whatever work we do will help prevent, but it won't necessarily, it all depends on what you're exposed to, right? But it will help reduce your risk, we'll say, of trapping more emotions. So
Right.
yeah.
Wow. I hadn't heard of that before. Thank you so much for sharing that. Very
Yeah, you're
interesting.
welcome.
The heart
I love
wall.
sharing that. I realize it's been a while since I've talked about that, but yeah, thank you for giving me that, reminding me of that.
Yeah, yeah, no worries at all. So we're kind of ending near our time here. Did you have any other sort of like tips or things that you wanted to share?
Yeah,
Mm.
I think that if you are struggling with feeling like, you're just in a rut, of being maybe a person that you didn't plan on being, right? And not really knowing what your path is, you have a choice. I mean, you have a choice of being stuck and sort of living somebody else's life, right? Or a life that that you didn't really design, you can stay there if you'd like to, if that's your comfort zone. But if that's the way you want, I mean, I think you have to kind of think about, what do I want to be known for when my time's up, right? And is this really the life you want? And I just want to encourage the audience to just take one baby step, minimally one baby step towards living the life you want. That's where it has to start. What's one baby step you can take to have the life you want? And that could be coaching, that could be awe, that could be something else that you've heard on your podcast, Elisa. But just think of one baby step that you need to take to have the life you want, and start there.
Yeah, so true. Because that's the beginning of it. And even that 1% in that right direction will have like a ripple effect. And so
Mm-hmm.
take that first little baby step. Oh, thank you so much for that. We went through some stuff today about talking about thinking outside the box, um and that, going out and getting some experiences that can kind of take you out of your comfort zone and experience things that give you this feeling of awe and amazingness, because this world is full of so many amazing things. And discovering what you love really helps you to connect with who you are, and therefore you can live more authentically, more easily. And then we had this amazing discussion about a heart wall and how, it's good to release it, and how the effects of not releasing it can have on you and your body and your life. And that there's always a choice. You always have a choice to stay where you are, or perhaps take that one baby step in the direction of where you want to go. So tell
Mm-hmm.
us of where our listeners can find you online.
Yeah, I'm at tryholisticbrainhealth.com. And I offer a complimentary consultation for anybody who wants to work on the heart wall or anything else.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And just to end us off, do you have any final words of wisdom?
Yeah. Play. If you're feeling stuck, play.
Yes.
Don't forget to
Mic
play.
drop.
In the United States, we just don't do that enough. But yeah, one baby step is really my biggest takeaway. But I just
Mhm.
wanted to add that don't forget to play, because that really helps us get in touch with who we are too. So
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for being here today.
thank you for having me, Lisa. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it inspired you to live a more authentic life. I'd love your help in inspiring more people to live authentically. So please follow, rate, and leave a review so we can create a ripple effect of authenticity. Until next time, stay true to you, be bold, and thrive on your own terms. This is Elisa, signing off authentically.